Hi guys, Realize here, my name is Samira, and today I would like to discuss with you motivation letter. In today's topic, I would like to share some general requirements on writing motivation letter, as well as I will give you some tips and tricks and things to avoid when you're writing it. So, okay, let's get started. So first of all, let's discuss and sort out the terminology. Of course, is motivation letter. Is the application letter you write applying for university or scholarship. So motivation letter and the statement of purpose is basically the same thing. And motivation letter and personal statement, they are a little bit different. Personal statement is kind of a little bit similar to motivation letter, although it is more personal and focused more on your past experiences that basically shaped you. Motivation letter is focused on your future plans and goals. So personal statement is something about the past that happened, which lead you to the present situation. Motivation letter is something that is focused on your future plans and goals. Cover letter is completely different. It is a letter you apply for work. So those are completely different settings. You should be aware and you should actually pay attention when applying to some institution what thing they require. Be aware of this, and let's get into some more details of what motivation letter is and why it's important. Motivation letter or statement of purpose is a letter that describes how the program you're applying will assist you with your professional and personal goals. And it is important because the way you write your motivation letter will make the difference between being accepted or rejected, especially for universities with high application standards or scholarship. And talking about general requirements, one of the most important is that you should keep it short. Around 1 page will be enough because also it will take time for them to read. And if you provide them with a 3-page long motivation letter, they will just not be bothered to read it till the end. So you need to keep it really short to be very on point when writing your motivation letter. So some scholarship programs, they require longer letters. So be aware, just look at the requirements, and if they don't specify that you need to write at least 2 pages, for instance, you should keep it short. And also the appearance, so the layout also is very important. It should look nice, so which means that it should be consistent, font and size. Font style you can use are like very standard options. Those are Times New Roman, Arial or Calibri. Don't try to be too creative using some kind of weird fonts that will be hard to read. So keep it simple, keep it formal. Standard options are also a good choice. And as well as the font size, it should not be too big in order to make it longer, or too small and you will try to fit it in 1 page. It should be also like around 10 to 12, the size. And it should be just well structured. Just like the introduction, the body part and the conclusion, and the structure, we will talk about it next. Another bonus tip I would like to give you is that your motivation letters font and size should match your CV. That will just look more professional in the committee's eyes. So just try to keep one style everywhere. So what is the content of motivation letter and what questions you should address in your motivation letter? Before writing it, just take your time and think, what do you want to include in this motivation letter? What question are you trying to answer? What do you want to represent? So just taking your time and brainstorming, just writing some bullet points about this specific question would be very, very helpful. So what these questions are? Why are you applying for this specific degree program? Why this is the right time for you to be applying? And what do you hope to do in the future meaning your career goals or your academic goals as well, and how it is connected with this degree. What are your specific interests on this subject? And do you have a specific area you would like to research? What is special about the program you're applying to, and what do they offer you? And what makes you the perfect candidate for this program? Those are the main questions, let's say. Next, let's go to the structure. So, as I said, there is no specific rule of how your motivation letter should look and what structure it should have. But there is like, I would just offer you a general recommendation, and you might change some points and you might restructure it a little bit, but it should have specific structure. So your line of thought should be very clear and understandable for the committee. So first you need to address the letter to a person. That would be a very good tip if you know who will read this letter, but be aware that you know for sure the name, and you can address to this specific person. Or if you don't know who will consider your application, you can just like use this general opening like "Dear Sir or Madam," or "To whom it may concern." And then you should start with this kind of statement, which is something you generally write in your motivation letter, which is, "With this letter, I would like to express my interest in studying at University of this," the name. Here I wrote as an Erasmus student. It could be anything, just matching to you. So the next would be the paragraph or paragraphs about yourself. So writing these paragraphs is easiest if you have first made the list of the most important requirements of the program, along with the list of your characteristics, experiences, and skills that matches the profile. So this will be easiest if you just write down the main points you will make, if you have a specific plan already. So, for example, you can start with explaining your background in the first paragraph. Like, I'm currently studying master degree program in regional geography at the blah blah university in London. So basically you just say where you're at, and then your like background. I've studied there, I did this. And while in the second paragraph you can mention about your current activities. Right now I'm doing this in this course. It's just like you go from past to present and then the future. And then, which means in the third paragraph you can say about your future plans. You can also include in this paragraph, making it like 3 and 4 in one, writing about your future plans and how this program or university will help you to reach it. But it's really important just to give general information about yourself, explaining your background, mentioning what you're doing right now, then expressing why you've chosen this specific program, this specific university, and then talking about your future plans. You can write it all in one paragraph, you can divide it, so it will be easier to just understand what you're talking about. So this is like a general recommendation. It's not a rule, as I said before. So I just showed you on this slide some of examples. It doesn't mean that you need to copy that, but this is just like to understand what I've been talking about. For instance, you can just mention something like, I developed my passion for online marketing during my internship at some company. Working in a small startup allowed me to get surface level experience in the most digital marketing channels. So you say, I worked this in, and this led me to that, which is a good connection. Now I would like to deep dive and gain advanced know-how by attending university this and this program in digital marketing. So basically you said what you've done. It's very short. This is just an example. And then you can say also, I have chosen to apply for University of XY. because I really like its module system of study. I especially appreciate the wide range of offered modules and the freedom in making your study plan. Here what you show that you already researched, that you read about the module system of this specific program. Those are examples of the paragraph about yourself. So conclusion of your motivation letter is that you should briefly indicate your goal for this application, that you want to be admitted. Also, you can add some neutral conclusion, right? Like, thank you for considering my request. I look forward to your positive response, and then kind regards and your name. This is like a very general, neutral conclusion. Let's get into tips. I would like to give you some tips about making not just a motivation letter, but a good one. So first is take your time. It's not just an essay you write one day before deadline, because if you write it just in one day, the quality of your motivation letter will be, not the best, of course. So I would suggest you to start early. So you need to reserve enough time to complete it. And why you need to take your time? Because you need to think about what you will write. And this leads us to tip number 2, which is make your research. And you need to take your time to really read about the requirements, the main projects of this university or program, activities, personal philosophy, because universities tend to have also their own philosophy. And it will give you first the idea of what this program wants from you, from their students, who they're searching for. And then you will just write the motivation letter that will fit the thing that they're looking for. So make your research. So basically relating to the main activities and interests of the university will definitely help start a positive cooperation. So, and here is like another small tip is that go to the university website. Don't read just like on some kind of portal, because they give you very general information of this program. You need to go to this program's website and research. You need to find you can basically find all relevant information. And also try to see what courses they offer. And if you mention that, for instance, in your motivation letter, that I would like to research this, and this specific course that you offer will help me with this. That's why I really like your program, because they offer that exactly what I want. That will be a huge plus for you, because first of all, you research, you're really genuinely interested in this program. So just be aware of these small things that will indicate you're serious about this program. You really want something, and you know what you want, and you need to show it to them. Tip number 3, average is not enough. Many students, many of you maybe also, they make the same big mistake by just downloading the sample of the motivation letter online, just changing some points, and then basically sending this motivation letter to admission committee. But just keep in mind that admission committee gets thousands of motivation letters, and you need to stand out. They will immediately see that this thing you did not write, because they will get the same structure, the same words, but just with different names. And then what they're going to do? They will not even read it. So they will just put it away. So you need to find some points that will be very individual, very personal. So don't copy from the internet, and because it will be too general. And you need to show your personality, your drive, your goals. Then that will be seen. Then they will be interested to read this motivation letter. Another thing is, don't repeat your CV. It should not be just the same points, thinking I did this, then I did this, then I did this, because they can find all this information in CV. It's a bit tricky, I know, because your motivation letter cannot also include new things that you did not mention in your CV. So what you need to do is basically you need to pick a very personal approach, and you need to connect in this motivation letter, not just list what you've done, but connect what you've done, how it helped you to, for instance, develop specific skills, and then how it will help you to reach your future goals. This is like the main point of the writing motivation letter. And also another small tip would be, try to imagine the perspective of the reader. Don't only focus on what this program will give me, but also try to focus what they are searching for, what they're looking for, what they want. And try to just match it with your motivation letter. Tip number 5, don't exaggerate. You should not include things that you did not mention in your CV or resume. Tip number 6, stay positive and show your genuine interest, which means you need to formulate your letter in a very positive and future-oriented way, saying, I'm eager to learn and I'm prepared to adapt myself to a new environment, for instance. Do not focus on your weak points, because they will see it anyways. So don't mention things like, I have no experience in this, I've never done that. So instead, just focus on your strong points and keep it very positive. And lastly, I would just suggest you, before submitting, get feedback from someone. Give this letter to a friend to read it, because this will help you in terms of when you write, you're writing from a writer perspective, and when you give it to read to someone, they will give you the reader's perspective. They will say, I don't get this point, or this sentence is too long, I just cannot understand what you're meaning, what you're trying to say. So just try to get as much feedback as you can. It's always a good idea to maybe suggest your teacher, English teacher, to read it, or someone who already had experience with writing motivation letter. This would be our last tip, and then we're going to things what to avoid. When writing your motivation letter, try to avoid negative or denying words like I can't or I never did, and try to focus, as I said, on the very strong and positive setting, and avoid abbreviation and technical jargon, which, for instance, we might forget that things that in Uzbekistan are obvious, they like people from abroad might not know. For instance, UVET, you say, and instead I would suggest you to use University of World Economy and Diplomacy, and just keep this in mind. And don't lie, of course. Don't lie, because they can always check, and if they see that you lied, of course, you will never be accepted. And be aware of your spelling or grammar mistakes, and of course, avoid some colloquialisms, which means slang words, abbreviation, also, yes, I said, idioms, just keep it more formal and use strong and clean language. So I would just say, make your motivation letter represent your goals. So in order to write a good motivation letter, you need to have very good structured plan first. So just keep focused on that. And then motivation letter will be, as a consequence, it will be a good motivation letter, Just try to focus on what goals you are pursuing, what you want from the future, and just find a program that you really like and that will assist you with that. And then you don't have to lie. You won't have to think a lot about how to kind of make them want me, You will just, it will be so much easier for you. So these are the main tips, the main things I wanted to tell you about motivation letter, and I hope you find this content useful. And if you have any questions, you can submit them in the comments of YouTube or comments of the Instagram page of Realize, and we will try to give you some feedback, give you some more information. So thank you for staying, and thank you for watching, and good luck with your application.